What's happening, Internet fam? So, I just watched the new Star Wars movie, and it was very enjoyable, but it completely lacks substance. Plot, script, the acting was okay. There was a lot of weird CG that just wasn't convincing. There was a scene where Leia was supposed to be younger, and it was very obvious to me that she was a video game model and not a person, which is weird. You'd think somebody like LucasArts or Disney or whatever giant multi-billion-dollar corporation owns that whole thing, you'd think that they could go ahead and render a real person there and then make a comparison with the lighting and the texture and everything, and then just replace that real person with Leia's face and then make it look real. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard to do that, but yet they failed at that. But now that Disney's taken over and they're just milking this cash cow by putting out film after film after film, it's made me rethink everything about Star Wars. And my new impression is that Star Wars, the first film, A New Hope, the very first film, which at the time was just called Star Wars, was a genius masterstroke of brilliance that kind of, it's very obvious that George Lucas had studied Kurosawa and all these other like super legendary great filmmakers and applied that knowledge in a very skillful and dedicated way. And clearly, Star Wars was a genius film, and I think that Empire Strikes Back was even better. I think he was hitting his stride. I think, Marcia Lucas, who wrote the script for the first three, everything was on point. Empire Strikes Back is one of the best films of all time, and Star Wars was genius. Love Star Wars, the first one. Return of the Jedi was still pretty good. You still had George Lucas, Marcia Lucas, all that original great cast. But there was a lot about the Return of the Jedi where it kind of already jumped the shark for me. Some people would go to the grave fighting that and disagree, but that's my opinion of it. But now that I've seen all the new ones, the prequels with the horrible Anakin, the Hayden Christensen Anakin that was just like super, super annoying to attempt to watch. And honestly, I thought the new guy who played Kylo Ren, although he's a good actor, I found him very annoying to watch too. I did not like him as a character. But I think the actor himself was doing a good job with what he was given. I don't think the scripts were well written. Marcia Lucas, if you don't know, wrote like some really, really great films besides Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. She also wrote Willow, which is the last production she did with George Lucas before they divorced. And she also did Taxi Driver and I think one of the Godfathers. And she's a legendary screenwriter. So one of the reasons the first three were so good is because Marcia Lucas was the writer. So, you got to have good writing. If you don't have a good script, you don't have a good film. And that's what it really boils down to with Star Wars. I don't think any of them are good films, except for the very first two, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. That's my new opinion. I was like a little bit like on the fence, like, oh, there's these redeeming qualities about some of the prequels, and some of the new ones have some redeeming qualities. But now they're just putting them out one after another, and none of them are really memorable or interesting. None of the characters are memorable or interesting. And it makes you really realize why the first two were so good. And also realize that the new ones are just not that good. So, anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on the new Star Wars. And, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. I think Empire came out when I was in like second grade or something. And, I was obsessed. I had all the action figures, and I loved those films. And I loved Return of the Jedi when it came out too. But, I was a kid, And now as an adult, I'm watching it, and I'm just like, it's not that good compared to Empire, especially, or even compared to the first Star Wars either. So, anyway, those are my thoughts on the new Star Wars. I just, I don't know why I'm sharing my thoughts on Star Wars. I guess I'm a lifelong fan, and it needs to be said. All of these new ones lack soul. They don't have any soul. The acting is fairly decent, And the special effects are overall amazing and incredible and awesome, and some of the big battle scenes and sword fights are cool, but the script is garbage. The script has been pretty terrible in most of them, and while I appreciate the spectacle and I can enjoy the film, I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed watching the film, but I've enjoyed watching a Transformers film too, and those are by and large terrible. So I mean, they're kind of guilty pleasures really at this point. So that's how I feel about Star Wars at this point. It's a guilty pleasure, and it's too bad because I think those first two were part of cinema history, really made an impact on not just me but an entire generation, and to watch these kind of like just repackaged, repumped, redone, scripts with with pulling the old characters back in an obvious bid to trigger people's nostalgia and stuff like that. It's such a corporate product. It's such a corporate product, and it's not art. It's not art at all. There's no art to it. There's the script. It's obvious there was 20 dudes in a room, or maybe a few ladies too. I don't know. Obviously they're going for diversity with the cast and everything, so they're probably going for diversity with the writing too. And I gotta say, it didn't help you because the writing is garbage, and the script is garbage, and the films are garbage. Enjoyable garbage, sure. I mean, I also enjoy eating whipped cream, but there's no substance. There's no art to it. When you're eating whipped cream, it's not like this masterful thing that somebody created. Even if you have really, really good homemade whipped cream made with fresh, raw, local honey, it's not that great. It's just whipped cream, right? I mean, and that's what I think about pretty much most of the movie industry, most of the music industry. Before I went to the movie, I went out and ate at Dave & Buster's, which is an interesting place. I don't go there very often. It kind of annoys me a little bit, but they have this pop music just blasting on a big TV, right there where you can't escape it. You can't escape the imagery, and it's all prostitutes wearing clothing. That's what's on the TV. It's prostitutes, they're wearing clothing. They're all doing these suggestive dances in these clothes, and they're all, none of them, there's no music to it at all. It's just a pounding synth rhythms, which we've had now for 40 years, it's been done, and baby, 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 the lyrics are just garbage, and the one of the songs we were listening to, and I'm sure it's a big hit, but it's literally the melody was just no, 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 just the same note over and over again, and I'm oh, here we go, we're going to the chorus, they're gonna change. Nope. Just note, 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 and then right back to the verse. Note, 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 note. It was literally the whole song was 2 notes, and really focusing on just the one note, and the writing is just garbage. All of the writing is garbage. These corporate products that they're putting out now, there's no writing, there's no soul, there's no art to any of it. It's literally a big giant plate of artificial store-bought whipped cream. The kind in the can, the Ready Whip. This isn't homemade real whipped cream. This is Ready Whip out of a can, and with nothing else. You don't get a cookie, you don't get chocolate, you don't get coconut flakes. You just only get the whipped cream, and it's too bad. It's too bad that corporations have decided what we get to listen to and what we get to watch, and that they've decided all we get to listen to and watch is just rehashed garbage that's been done over and over and over again. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on the new Star Wars. I'm trying a new recording software, so see how it goes.